Hi there, Mr. Mayo here with a practice tip. Today we're going to talk about audio recording. Now, audio recording can be used in a lot of different ways for musicians within their practice sessions. A lot of times as musicians, we become tone deaf to what exactly we sound like because that's what we hear so much. So recording kind of takes us out of that personal element and makes it seem like we're listening to someone else. You could record your whole practice session or just a small portion of your practice session. If you choose to go macro and look at the whole practice session, you could look at the big picture things of what did you use in your practice session, what techniques were effective, what really helped you to become a better musician, and did you end up wasting any time? If you choose to go more micro, you can play just a segment of a piece of music, a segment of an etude, or even an exercise or a small portion of that exercise. Keep in mind that if you're recording a small chunk that's maybe 20 or 30 seconds, you might want to record it multiple times to see if there's consistencies between each time in both the errors and what you're also doing well. Regardless of whether you video the whole session or just a portion, some things to consider are your tone quality and your tone quality across different registers. How's your intonation? Are you in tune from note to note? How's your musicality, your dynamics, your articulation? Are you getting the sound exactly that you're wanting to look for? If you take private lessons, it might be beneficial for you to record your private lessons. That way you can go back and review exactly what your teacher told you that week. Ultimately, I would take notes with those recordings to figure out exactly what helped you as a musician, so that way it can help you in the future as well as any instruction that you might give to a future student. Recordings create a record that we can use. It can analyze what you did just within one day, or even several weeks, months, or even years. If you're using a recording for the same day, what you might see is the improvement you made from the beginning of the practice session to the end of the practice session. Meaning, how did I sound at the beginning, how did I sound at the end, and what improvements did I make? If you keep that record for more than one day, what you could do is go back and look at that record over a course of multiple days of playing the same etude, exercise, or piece of music. And you can analyze for the gains that you made each individual day and see those small gains add up to a huge victory. It even might be beneficial to go back and listen to recordings of yourself from years ago just to see that improvement. A lot of times in music, it's hard to see those small gains that we make each individual day without looking at the big picture. And that helps us to really celebrate and be more motivated to practice because we see that each day's practice makes us more successful. We carry around recording devices with us all the time with our phones. You could also purchase a digital recorder such as this one. Some of them have playback functions to where you could play it back right there within your practice session. If you choose to use a video function on whatever device you're using, you can a lot of times look at more specific details such as fingering technique, your embouchure, on percussion, exactly how your technique looks, especially if you use the slow-mo function. This can really help build you up to be a better musician. One thing I think a lot of people don't consider with recording is recorder placement, exactly how far away or how close it is to the instrument. And this has a large effect on the sound quality that you get. If it's too close, you might be too loud to the microphone and the gain might feed back. If it's too far away, you might not hear every little detail that you were wanting to hear with the instrument. You have to use trial and error to figure out what works best as to how close or how far away it should be. I personally recommend that if you can look at the gain, meaning how loud or how soft the microphone pickup is, I recommend keeping it towards the center. That way you can hear both the loud dynamic range and the soft dynamic range. Use trial and error to figure out what works best for you. A lot of people think that using phones or technology within the practice room can be a bad thing because it can create distractions. But if you use it towards your advantage and don't let it distract you, you can really find out awesome ways to get better as a musician. Feel free to subscribe to this YouTube channel for future videos. Have a good one. Be safe.